What if I told you that every time you swipe your credit card, someone else is quietly making money, even when you think you're being smart with it? It sounds almost unfair. You use your card responsibly. You pay your bill on time. You even earn cashback or rewards. It feels like you are winning. But what if you're not? What if the system was designed in a way where no matter what you do, someone else always profits? Think about this. Why do banks aggressively offer credit cards? Why do they give you sign-up bonuses, reward points, travel miles, and even cashback on your everyday spending? Why would they reward you for spending money? It almost feels backwards. In most businesses, companies try to charge you more, but here, they seem to be giving money back to you. So what's really going on? Because the truth is, credit cards are not just a financial tool. They are one of the most profitable business models ever created. A system so powerful that it generates billions of dollars every single year. A system where banks, payment networks, and financial institutions all work together to keep money flowing constantly. And here's the part that might surprise you the most. They don't just make money from people who are in debt. They make money from everyone, from the person who struggles to pay their bill, and from the person who never misses a payment, from the careless spender, and from the disciplined one, which means the game is much bigger than you think. So the real question is not whether credit cards are good or bad. The real question is, do you actually understand how they work? Because once you do, you'll start seeing every swipe differently. And you might realize that the small piece of plastic in your wallet is not just a convenience. It's part of a system designed to be incredibly profitable. Most people think they understand how credit cards work. You borrow money, you spend it, and if you don't pay it back on time, you get charged interest. Simple. And because of that, many people believe that as long as they avoid interest, they are using credit cards the right way. They feel safe, they feel smart, they think they are beating the system. But here's the problem. That belief is incomplete, because it only looks at one part of the system, while ignoring everything else happening behind the scenes. In reality, credit cards are not just about borrowing money. They are part of a much larger financial ecosystem, designed to generate profit from multiple angles. And the biggest misconception is this: people think credit card companies only make money when users fail, when they miss payments. When they fall into debt. When they get trapped in high interest rates. But that's not true. Even if you are the perfect user, you are still contributing to their profits. Every time you swipe your card, something happens that most people never notice. The business you are buying from pays a small fee. You don't see it, you don't feel it, but it's there. And over millions of transactions, those small fees turn into billions of dollars. Then there's behavior. Using a credit card feels different from using cash. It's faster, it's easier, it feels less painful, and because of that, people tend to spend more than they normally would. Not always intentionally, but gradually, and that extra spending feeds the entire system. So the real problem is not just debt, it's misunderstanding, because when you don't fully understand how the system works, you assume you are in control, when in reality, the system might be influencing your decisions more than you think. And that's exactly what makes it so powerful. Let's break this down in the simplest way possible. Credit cards make money through three main channels. Once you understand these, everything becomes clear. First, interchange fees. Every time you swipe your card, the business you are buying from pays a fee. This is usually around 1 to 3% of the transaction value. You don't see this fee directly, but it's built into the price of products and services. That means, whether you realize it or not, every purchase you make with a credit card is generating income for banks and payment networks. Now think about scale. Millions of people are swiping their cards every second around the world. Those tiny percentages add up to billions in revenue. Second, interest charges. This is the most obvious source of profit. If you don't pay your full balance, the remaining amount starts accumulating interest, often at very high rates. And here's where it becomes powerful for the companies. Interest compounds. which means the longer someone carries a balance, the more money the bank earns. For many users, this turns small purchases into long-term debt, generating consistent profit for lenders. Third, fees. There are more fees than most people realize. Annual fees just for holding certain cards. Late payment fees if you miss a due date. Foreign transaction fees when you spend internationally. Cash advance fees if you withdraw money. Each one might seem small on its own, but across millions of users, these fees create a massive stream of income. Now, here's where it gets even more interesting. Credit cards are not just financial tools. They are designed using behavioral psychology. They make spending feel easy and even rewarding. You get cash back, you earn points, you unlock travel benefits. It feels like you are gaining something every time you spend. But in reality, these rewards are carefully calculated. They are designed to encourage you to spend more, not less. And when millions of people spend just a little more than they normally would, the entire system becomes incredibly profitable. So it's not just about borrowing money, it's about shaping behavior at scale. Now let's go one level deeper. Because what we've discussed so far is just the surface. The real power of credit cards comes from something most people never think about, and that is the ecosystem behind every transaction. When you swipe your card, a lot happens in just a few seconds. Your bank approves the payment. The payment network processes the transaction. The merchant receives the money. And somewhere in between all of this, multiple companies are taking a small cut. But here's the key idea. Credit cards are not just a product. They are part of a massive network. A network where every participant earns a small percentage. This includes banks, payment processors, card networks, and even fintech companies. And because the system is built this way, it becomes incredibly scalable. Every new user, every new transaction, every new swipe. Adds more fuel to the engine. Now think about this carefully. The more people use credit cards, the more money flows through the system. And the more money flows through the system, the more opportunities there are to earn from it. This creates a powerful cycle. More usage leads to more profits. More profits lead to more rewards. More rewards lead to more usage, and the cycle continues. This is why credit cards are pushed so aggressively in almost every country. Banks offer sign-up bonuses. Airlines offer travel partnerships. Stores offer discounts when you pay with certain cards. Everything is designed to increase usage, because usage equals profit. And here's the interesting part. Even governments benefit from this system. Electronic transactions are easier to track, easier to tax, and easier to regulate compared to cash. So the entire ecosystem, from banks to businesses to governments, all benefit in different ways. Which means credit cards are not just a financial tool. They are part of a much bigger economic system. A system designed to keep money moving. And the more you understand this system, the more powerful your financial decisions become. Let's look at how this works in the real world. Take companies like Visa and MasterCard. These companies don't actually lend money to you. Instead, they operate the networks that process your transactions. Every time you swipe your card, their system connects your bank, the merchant, and the payment processor in seconds. And for doing that, they take a small cut from each transaction. Now imagine this happening not just once, but billions of times every single day across the world. That's how they generate massive revenue, without taking on the risk of lending money. On the other side, you have banks like JP Morgan, Chase, and American Express. These are the companies that actually issue the credit cards. They lend you the money when you make a purchase, and they earn from interest, fees, and a share of the interchange fees. But, for example, American Express is known for charging higher fees to businesses compared to other card networks. Why? Because their customers tend to spend more, so businesses are willing to accept those higher fees in exchange for access to high-spending users. Now let's simplify this with two people. Person A uses a credit card. responsibly and pays the full balance every month. Person B carries a balance and pays interest. You might assume Person B is the only profitable customer, but that's not true. Person A still generates income through transaction fees every time they swipe their card. And because rewards encourage spending, they might spend more than they would using cash. Person B, meanwhile, generates even more profit through interest payments, so whether you are careful or careless, both types of users contribute to the system. And that's the genius of this business model. It doesn't rely on just one type of customer. It makes money from everyone. So what should you take away from all of this? The first and most important lesson is this: credit cards are not the enemy. They are tools, powerful ones, and like any tool, they can either help you or hurt you depending on how you use them. If you understand how they work, you can use them to your advantage. If you don't, you can easily become part of the system without realizing it. Second, you need to understand that credit cards are designed to influence behavior. They make spending feel easy. They make it feel painless. And they reward you for using them more. But that doesn't mean every reward is a real gain. Sometimes, the rewards are just a way to encourage you to spend more than you normally would. So before every purchase, ask yourself a simple question: would I still buy this if I had to pay in cash? That one question alone can change your financial behavior significantly. Third, always remember the most important rule: pay your balance in full every month. This is the line between using the SHS and being used by it. When you carry a balance, you start paying interest, and that is where credit cards become extremely expensive. But when you pay on time and in full, you avoid interest and can even benefit from rewards. However, even then, you must stay aware, because rewards are not free money. They are part of a carefully designed system to keep you spending. Fourth, focus on long-term wealth, not short-term rewards. Credit cards might give you cashback or points, but those are small compared to what you can gain by investing and growing your money over time. Real financial growth comes from building assets, not chasing perks. Finally, remember, the goal is not to avoid credit cards. The goal is to understand them, because once you understand how the system works, you stop reacting and start making intentional financial decisions. And that is how you move from being a participant to becoming someone who is in control. If you've watched this far, it means something in this video made you pause and think. And that's exactly where real financial growth begins. Most people go through life using credit cards, loans, and financial tools without ever questioning how they actually work. They follow the system, spend money, collect rewards, and assume they are making smart decisions. But very few people stop and ask deeper questions like the one we explored today. How do these systems really make money? Who benefits the most? And where do I stand in this system? Once you start asking those questions, your entire perspective on money begins to change, because financial success is not just about earning more, it's about understanding how money moves, it's about recognizing opportunities, and it's about avoiding hidden traps that most people never even notice. On The Geeky Investor, that's exactly what we focus on. We break down complex financial topics into simple, easy to understand ideas. We explore how the rich think differently. We uncover the psychology behind money, investing, and financial systems. And we help you build a mindset that is focused on long-term growth instead of short-term thinking. So, if you are serious about improving your financial knowledge, if you want to understand how the real financial world works, and if you want to make smarter decisions with your money, then this is the right place for you. Hit the subscribe button to The Geeky Investor. Stay curious, stay informed, and start building a better financial future today.